bum, bum. Hey guys, I'm just getting it set up. We'll get started here in a minute. May have some guests joining us at some point. We'll see what's going on. And yeah, good call, Mr. Thakis. I do need some music. Too quiet without it. Alright, got a little something to listen to. Take a look at some markets, see what's going on here. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining early on here. Alright. Gonna share this, see if we can get some people in. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at some news as well. Just going to turn this down a little bit. And looks like Bitcoin is dipping a little bit. That's good. All right. So let's see if there's any really interesting news here. It's always good to check, the calendar for upcoming events too. We have that in the resources section in the Masons Discord. If you haven't seen it before, you can always search for any coins you're thinking about trading, seeing if there's any upcoming events for them. But just some headlines here. Let's see. Qtum is... So I'm pretty sure Qtum has been delisted for US traders in several markets recently, or is about to be upcoming. I believe that was one of the ones that Bittrex was delisting for US customers. I no longer use Bittrex though, so I'm not paying as much attention to that exchange. What do they have coming up though? They do have a mandatory update. Oh, you're probably just hearing I got an AC running in the office. I can turn that off. Alright. Yeah, let me know if anything's too loud, too quiet, stuff like that, guys. I turned up the volume on the mic a little bit. So they've got an update coming up. That's probably not a really big deal, just a mainnet thing. Not, you never know. I think that altcoins are still in too much of a downtrend for news to make much of a difference for them. I am expecting a lot of them to find bottoms, though, if Bitcoin does consolidate or retrace here. And it kind of looks like it's trying to. Let me just take a look at it here while I'm talking about this too. So you can see I've got one of these weekly charts up over here, and then I've got a session volume chart over here right now. I'm just going to turn that off for now because it's kind of noisy when you're just looking at stuff. I'm going to move this up to a day chart so we can see that and see what's going on here. Yeah, I mean oh, I see. Okay, so it's dropping a little bit, liquidating some longs. On a weekly time frame, though, doesn't really look bad right now. I mean, this candle is obviously huge candle, very strong volume. Most things we want to see. Pretty simple stuff there, just looking at that. Like, that candle looks bullish, obviously. Could retrace, definitely. 50% of this candle, for example, would be about right there. And 50% of this move from that low would be about right there. So, oh yeah, 93, no wait, that wasn't the level. There's something I was looking at like 97 area, and I can't remember what it was now, but maybe we'll find it. So, I don't know, I don't feel very bearish though, overall on it. I don't see any significant reasons to end my bullishness on Bitcoin yet. Daily looks strong, weekly looks strong. There is this little divergence here, but the thing is, this divergence it's not technically real until we have a weekly candle that closes to make that divergence, because right now it's just the previous point, so the next point obviously is not in, and while there's a little bit of divergence between here and here, it's just on RSI, it's not really on anything else that I'm seeing, so don't really trust it. Not worth trading on a time frame that large, in my opinion. We're still just in buy the dip mode, it looks like. Obviously you have to be able to weather some extreme volatility when doing that. You know, we haven't even had a daily candle close below its previous day's open yet, so in a long time. So yeah, it's still super strong. You know, I'm just following a day trading strategy right now for the most part, with leverage stuff where I'm buying any high probability dips, and I actually want to look on a lower time frame at what's going on right now, because this looks like could get interesting. Okay, not really interesting on that time frame. I'm gonna move this down just so I can check out the lower time frames here and have something to compare. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, that would have been a nice little swing high. I was eating and watching videos, though. I was not trading during this little bounce here. Yeah, so it looks like we may have a nice little day trade set up here soon, but not quite yet. Yeah, I'm looking for this to go a little bit lower still. So yeah, I mean, that's on the 3-hour time frame, definitely some divergence going on there. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so we could have a nice little retrace here. I'll wait for that to kind of play out, wait for a nice little bottom signal before I enter a new day trade long position here. You know, and that's one of those things, it's easy just to stay out of the way. I'm not really trying to, I don't think this is a top by any means. Maybe just, you know, short term here for the rest of the day perhaps, but yeah, there's no reason to think that it's not just going to come down and bounce like it's been doing for days and days now. Maybe doing something similar to down here. Just seeing, yeah, I mean, divergence on the 3-hour time frame is very tradable, certainly. As you can see there, that was a nice little tradable moment there. This is kind of extended here, so, but this, well, and this candle closes in 12 minutes. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so I'm just kind of staying out of the way right now. I'm just going to watch that. I don't have any open leveraged positions. I've closed all of my long positions on Bitcoin at this point, other than my spot Bitcoin, and letting that play out, waiting for a new entry for any longer term leverage positions. Alright, I've got the really long term chart too. I've just got the Bitstamp chart pulled up here just so I can take a look at that. It's always nice to view the entire history of something. I don't use the log chart that much. You guys may have noticed I like the regular arithmetic charts. It's personal preference. You know, I've done some writing about that before. Oh yeah. Yeah, that XLM just does not want to find a bottom here. Hoping it does soon. Might have to close that one back out and try again. Alright, so anyway, back to some news stuff here. If you guys know of any interesting events, are you hedged 1x short still? No, I am not right now, actually, Froth. I was, but I got scared out of it and haven't reopened yet. So, just still waiting. Oops. Just clicked the wrong thing here. Just still waiting for some better signals. I do enjoy being 1x hedged often, and this doesn't look like a terrible place to do that, but I'm also, you know, not really that worried about it at the moment, so it doesn't seem necessary per se. Easier just to wait. Easier just to wait for a good buying opportunity lower here. But obviously, you know, it scared me out and then it has dipped back down. So, and that happens. That's part of, you know, going 1x short. Sometimes you're just going to have to get scared out and then re-enter. Unfortunately, I was not watching the market at a good time to have re-entered. I actually, let's see, I stopped out, I can tell you where. I was 1x short, planning on, I was basing it partially off the OBV structure and the MACD and the divergence on the RSI. So I was trading, you can see this 3-hour candle right here. I was trading expecting that to be the high, so I did stop out at that high. And obviously price continued to go up, so I could have re-entered higher if I had been paying attention at the time. But I stopped out and said, well, I'm just going to let the market do its thing and I'll reevaluate later. So I had some other stuff to do. That's the way it goes. Happens. You know, can't even say that I would have necessarily re-entered at that point. Yeah, I would kind of be waiting for this candle to close either way, honestly. Because my system here, that candle's still painted green, whereas this one is blue. And blue means that I can take action. Green means that I am not allowed to do anything besides buy. Red and blue allow me to short if I have a good reason to do so. So, watching that 5-minute chart still, it's always lots of fun. Alright, so let's go back to, as I was saying, the news. Anything interesting upcoming? If you know of something, feel free to post it in the chat. I'm always interested to find out about stuff that maybe I'm not paying attention to for different coins. The main coins that I'm watching right now are XLM, XRP, LEND, and of course ETC, but I'm trading that on USD pair with a portion of my account that I generally keep in USD and only trade in and out of coins with that. So don't leave those funds in the market normally. They're just for trades, swing trades mostly. And what else am I paying attention to right now? I mean, you know, always watch the majors. TRX. TRX, of course, you know, it's always a hype machine. He's always doing stuff, always posting stuff. So it's always good to pay attention to that one. It was performing better as a possible bottom recently than a lot of the other altcoins, but you saw today, if you were watching the charts, when Bitcoin started to do this drop, a lot of the altcoins started to bounce. So they are looking for bottoms. There is money flowing into them, certainly. It's just, you know, kind of scared money right now. It's money that's like, maybe this is a bottom, and then as soon as it is not a bottom, it pulls right back out. So if they do go to new lows, all that money is going to come back out and wait for a real bottom to develop, if this is not it. I see a bunch of stuff for Zcoin. Not sure exactly what do they have. They've got, let's see, a live stream on Sunday. They did Zcoin Lentis. If you're interested in Zcoin Lentis, they do have some literature on that. It's, let's see, collaboration between projects to improve privacy technology. This is, you know, Zcoin obviously is working on a lot of privacy stuff. I haven't looked at Zcoin a lot. Let's just take a quick look at it since I do see a lot of news for it right now. Let's see what it's doing here. I'll just pull this up. Oh, and just because we were talking about it, this is the Tron chart on the daily on Binance. You can see how it's kind of performing a little bit better than, say, the XLM chart here, which has had a much deeper retrace afterwards. I saw that the Tron dude is doing some stuff coming up here. Obviously, of course, the dinner with Buffett is coming up, but he posted, what did he post here? Let's take a look at this. Justin, what are you doing? Justin Sun Tron here. 6 hours ago, he said, going live in 12 hours. Tron Independence Day. YouTube live stream link. So yeah, he's going to be doing a live stream tonight. That's, I mean, the nature of the TRX token, it will probably pump leading up to that even. Not a lot, you know, it's a little bit, but it does look like it might be trying to pull off a bottom here. You know, it's kind of close to a double bottom almost on the daily there. Oh, that's not a daily. What am I talking about? That's a 6 hour. But same thing on the daily, as you can see. Had a nice little engulfing candle there on the daily. Always good to see those. And then a little inside candle there. So, yeah, it does look like I can expect that to go up for the next few days at least. Weekly, I do have, you know, blue candles so I can buy. A little bit higher there. Yeah, I mean, it might be a bottom. It's just not a very strong bottom signal necessarily at the moment. You know, so I wouldn't hold my breath too much there. I wouldn't over leverage into that position by any means if it's a position you choose to take. I am in TRX, just so you know. I am already in TRX, and the position is currently a little bit underwater, but not that much, so I'm not that concerned about it. The only thing I'm concerned about it is on the June contract, so I may have to just accept a little loss on that and then switch it to the new contract. But I'll wait until the 28th to decide on that one and, you know, just let it stop out if necessary, or if it's going to bounce, just let it get higher and then switch to that contract later. So, let's see. What did I say? Oh, yeah, we're going to look at Zcoin. All right, and then that's the ETH chart over there. Let's look at Zcoin. What is it? XZC? Yeah, okay. All right. Ooh, what's going on there? XZC. Okay, so yeah, this coin has plenty of history on Binance, so we can check it out there. I am going to look at the Discord here too real quick. Alright, and this is a very strange chart. Yeah, I remember we were talking about this one on one of the other streams. Somebody asked about Zcoin, and I can't remember which day that was, but I said that I wanted to see it come up and create another bottom, you know, hopefully at this level here. And obviously it has come down lower. I don't love the look of this at the moment, and personally would not want to be in this coin until it comes back above 1262 there. That's 0.001262. Just because that's the last kind of high on today's candle. Although I'm going to base that on when that actually closes later. So, yeah. I just don't like when the EMAs are curving down like that. It's just not a pretty thing. So I want to see this daily candle close in a way that is less bearish at the moment. And that's probably really dependent on Bitcoin, of course, at the moment. The whole market is moving with Bitcoin, and obviously, while many of the altcoins are gaining USD value, they're not moving as quickly as Bitcoin is. Now, that being said, when Bitcoin does finally start consolidating longer term, whatever price point that ends up being, whether it's here or a little higher, or once it starts retracing, to cool down for a bit, the altcoins will bounce. They will bounce hard. They'll bounce fast. But it may not be a long-term bounce. Bitcoin is still in a very bullish trend overall, and as soon as it starts moving up again, all that money is going to flow right back out of the alts. So, if you're looking long-term, you can definitely be looking for some long-term entries into altcoins right now, but just know that there's a high likelihood of them losing value versus BTC right now. Versus USD, I do think many of them have found some lows, though. And versus BTC, they're getting close. It's, again, like I said the other day, I don't see necessarily strong bottom signals, though, yet. Again, strong bottom signals happen once the bottom is in, not necessarily while it's being created, so keep that in mind. Yeah, I mean, you can see, for example, like on the MACD, on Zcoin here, these last couple days just have some increasing bearish momentum overall. You don't want to stand in the way of that. You want to wait until that plays out for sure. So wouldn't be super interested in buying that here at the moment. That being said, they do seem to have a lot of news here. Let me pull that back up and see if there's anything else. It's kind of like news, though. It's nothing too special. Monero has the second day of the Monero Confrenco events. That's today. International panel with Zcon. So something to pay attention to. They've got big event, but as you can see, like a lot of events that are happening right now are not really having huge effects on the coins. So it's still very much just dominated by Bitcoin's movements at the moment. XMR is definitely up in USD. And, I mean, Monero obviously is a very, very powerful privacy coin, and privacy is going to become increasingly valuable over time. I do not currently hold any Monero. I have traded this coin in the past, and it is a project that I like in the space overall. When I was looking into privacy coins, Monero was one of the best, if not the best, and most private. I know there are some other coins that claim to be as private or close to being as private, more so potentially. Just most of those are smaller projects. They're not as widely used or well known, and certainly not as liquid as Monero is, and have not necessarily stood the test of time yet. The Monero team has definitely proved over time that they are looking to do good overall. I find its mechanics pretty interesting too. If you know about its mining algorithms and things like that, it does not actually have a set cap. It can continue to grow over time, so there's no total coin supply per se. It has a small emission even once the original coin supply is exhausted from mining. There will continue to be a small percentage emission over time to help pay for mining fees and things like that. So it is an interesting coin from that perspective, certainly. As you can see, it's doing the same thing as other alts, versus BTC. They all had this consolidation for a while that many of us were kind of hoping was a bottom, and we had to all stop out of that stuff on the way down here. I've said, I've only re-entered XLM and ETC from USD perspective, but am still waiting and looking for bottom signals on a lot of the other coins that I pay attention to. LEND for one, and I'm also paying attention to ICX and CND, but last time I looked at those, they just looked bad, so I'll take a look at those in a second here. And this is what I was talking about. Lots of stuff is going up in USD value. If you're trading, everything in USD value, then just pay attention to that. The Bitcoin part won't matter so much, but obviously, if you are trading versus Bitcoin, you're losing Bitcoin value right now as Bitcoin continues to rally faster and harder than the rest of the market. So if you want to make the most money, Bitcoin has been the thing to be in. Until some of these continued downward patterns are broken, Bitcoin will continue to be that. Obviously, there was an attempt there that became a fake out, and there hasn't really been a strong push up yet from this low. I do like that, we're seeing some potential higher lows in some of these indicators and things like that, but the OBV is still not really showing any conclusive, sure, it's got this, it's got that spike, which is nice to see on that move up, but I really do want to see the OBV, break and hold a new level. That would be nice if I wanted to trade that one. Not currently planning to trade Monero, though. All right, let's see. Highlights. XMR releases new features. So they do... Okay, so XMR had an update, it looks like. LTC Foundation teams up with Buybox and Tenario to launch a Litecoin debit card. Obviously, that will be limited availability. So, some jurisdictions will not have that. Yellow. Let me just look at the comments here while you guys are talking about it. Which EMA is the gray line? ETH-BTC seems pretty weak. Yeah, I'll take a look at ETH-BTC. Yellow 21 EMA. No, that is a 26 EMA, the yellow line. 26 EMA. Fairly standard EMA that is used in a lot of different markets. Good general barometer, certainly. And that's what's often referred to as the value. Oh, I'm sorry. The yellow line. Whoops. I'm looking at it opposite. The yellow is the fast EMA. It is a 13 EMA. And I use that primarily on the 3-hour, the daily, and the weekly. And yeah, the area between them is commonly referred to as the value zone. Famously, Mandelbrot. I don't know if you guys have heard of the mathematician Mandelbrot. He created, or he first entered the, equation into a computer that created the visual representation of fractal geometry, which is known as the Mandelbrot sets and Mandelbrot images. He was a very famous mathematician, and he was actually commissioned by the Egyptian government to look into cotton prices, because cotton was their main export. It made up a huge percentage of their economy, and they wanted to know if there was a way to make more money off the cotton market. So they hired Mandelbrot to come and study the market and study prices and things like that. And this concept is super important for us as traders because, this is like one of history's most genius mathematicians that studied market pricing. And what he found was, I may butcher it a little bit. I should probably look up the quote, but I'll give you my best summation of it right now. He said that prices in the cotton market oscillate above and below value. That was the only thing that he could determine mathematically significant in price movement. What this means for us is that if we can find a way to measure value, what is a median value for something, we can trade the oscillations above and below it. Very simple concept. It's what we're all trying to do with a lot of technical analysis, but it's important to find something that makes sense with your own strategy and your style that allows you to determine value. And EMAs is something that I use personally in part of my value determination. It's something a lot of traders use, actually. A lot of systems are based off of EMAs, 2, 3, or more. And so it's really great to kind of have that knowledge that mathematics has proved that if you can find a way to determine value, you can trade oscillations above and below it. That's not to say you can't get stopped out and all of that jazz. That's just a little part of it, but it's just a really nice concept and very, very easy to wrap my head around personally. And I like simple concepts. I think if things are too complicated, like I'm not a complete idiot. I'm not the smartest person out there for sure, but I'm not a complete idiot. And if I can't understand something, that someone's trying to teach me or that I'm reading in a book or something, it probably means that it's word salad or some sort of technical jargon that I just don't have a basis for, or that it's double talk. It's just someone trying to confuse me on purpose to make themselves sound better. And I mean, that's what tons of gurus in any field do. They're trying to make sure they sound smarter than you. So I just kind of watch out for that in general. All right, now just going back to some news stuff here. FSN Foundation announcement mainnet launch of protocol for blockchain finance. IOTA partners with Primority to improve food safety. That's kind of interesting. Again, it's like not something that's really going to make much of a difference in the price of the coin, probably. IOTA is a coin I haven't traded in a long time. Really, really long time. I owned it way back in the day, like shortly after it came out. I think it was like 40 cents or something, and it went up to like $2, and yeah, I haven't owned it since then. But just for fun, let's take a look at that one too. So what we got here? IOTA. Let's look. Oh no, I don't want the. Well, that's actually decent price history, but I want this one on Bitfinex. That's where it's been. Okay, so dollar and BTC. Yeah, I mean, basically the same thing as everything else. USD value looks like it's kind of lagging behind the market overall. Wow, it's back down in 45 cents, huh? This is a good one to zoom out because it's been around for a bit now. Let's see. I mean, this is kind of interesting here, just talking about the value proposition. EMA crosses, that's a pretty standard way to determine if it's a bull or a bear market. Obviously, it crossed up there and has been in a downtrend ever since. But price is back above the EMAs and looks like it's going to let them cross here on a weekly time frame soon. Probably, I mean, potentially even at the end of this one. So, yeah, as long as price stays above that level, probably above like 38 cents, it has a good chance of finding a bottom here soon. So, and it looks like it could happen a few different ways. Let's look at a little bit longer time frame. Yeah, I mean, this kind of looks like it could bottom here, but I think it's going to come down a little bit more first. Hasn't printed any obvious reversal signs versus BTC on the 3-day or the daily necessarily. Like, we could even see this bounce up and then come back down for one more test of a lower level first. Because that's just kind of like retesting that. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is the Bitcoin movements have just beat up so many decent setups on altcoins versus BTC. You know, I mean, this right here, that was a great setup for a potential head and shoulders bottom, but it invalidated and has come down, and now, you know, best you're hoping for is maybe a double bottom, but I think it's a downside move first, and then maybe some divergence at that point. You know, and I can be wrong about that. I'd be happy to be wrong about that, and just buy it, you know, once the opposite confirms. But looking at this structure here, it does look like the USD price can come down a little bit from where it is still too. And if that happens and Bitcoin consolidates or doesn't retrace very much, we'll see that Bitcoin value lower than this low, certainly. That'll create plenty of panic, you know, because, I mean, imagine if you're bag holding this thing, it's just down so much that if it loses one more low, I mean, that might convince you to stop out. So, you know, similar sort of thing with XLM. I'm hoping that this confirms as a bottom here. You can see I've got Nick's alpha exhaustion, which it is showing some exhaustion at that point, although it did something like that up here too. So just watching that one closely, because I am in this coin from this 1217 level right now. Yeah, watching it. If it retakes this low, I'm just gonna stop out and wait for it to bottom there, or to give me a new low with a better entry. So yeah, paying a lot of attention to that one, because I do have a larger position in XLM right now. All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh yeah, I mean, we can get some more people in, but I'm just doing these streams to check out markets for myself and kind of share some of the things I look at longer term. I'm not doing like short-term stuff right now on the streams, and not doing live trading quite yet. Just having a little fun, whoever wants to show up. But yeah, I could share it in there again. Just looking at Bitcoin again, because we were talking about this earlier, it did bounce right there at that level. So a little bit of divergence on the 5-minute for that bounce, but it is looking like, I mean, I would be surprised right now if it retook that level. It could, of course, but yeah, still just kind of staying out of a leveraged position, waiting for a really, really obvious setup. You know, one strategy that I will use sometimes on a candle like this, where it does close lower than the previous open, is I'll take a 50% move. So for example, this is a 3% candle, so 1.5%, which is just about where we are now. I'd want to see that level hold the price down, which it is so far. So, but it is on increasing momentum after a divergence, so price could just kind of bounce down right here and then go up some more. So it'd be interesting to watch that and see what happens. All right. Let's see. We got anything else interesting? Oh yeah, we have some. I did have a request. Let me take a look at that. Let's see here. What do we got? Raven, Bitcoin Raven. All right. So let's check this out. Let's look at the Raven coin. That's one that I know a lot of my miner friends have traded and mined and things like that. It's not one that I have personally had a lot of exposure to. Oh, I just typed that in wrong. I was like, what the hell is it? Raven coin, Bitcoin. Okay. So we got that. This is the daily chart. Let's pull it up on the weekly as well. And I just want to see if this has more history on Bittrex or if it's about the same. It's about the same. So I know that is a newer coin in general. So That's not a huge surprise. I'll move down to a 3-day chart just because there's not as much information. So, I mean, this obviously is still in a downtrend right now. What do we got going on here? So, yeah, I don't really love the look of this just right off the bat. There is divergence on the OBV, but there's, I guess there is some here, but daily, how many days is that? It's June, it's like 30, yeah, I mean, that's 40 days, so that's like the extent that I would look for a divergence. Definitely some divergence on the MACD there. Yeah, this is one where, sure, this could be a bottom, but if I was trading it, I would definitely stop out at that 551 level. And let me just see what that is on. Yeah, I mean, and that's a pretty big, that's an 8% difference that I would need to make that stop possible for me personally. So it would have to be a smaller position. The one thing that I do like, just structure-wise, on this, the 3-day candle is blue here, so that does give me permission to do things potentially. There's kind of false divergence there on the MACD, but those can still be good for bounces. And this candle is strong on the daily here. It did come up and bounce higher than the previous day's candle. It has retraced a little bit now, but it does look like it's trying to bounce. You know, this daily candle is going to close soon. You could even try with this one, you know, just stopping out at the bottom of that daily candle. That's a little bit riskier and more likely to get stopped out, but it lets you have a little bit larger position potentially if you wanted to trade it. I would be looking to take profit, though, on this at 690-ish. You know, because sure, sometimes these candles happen like this, but it's more likely that you come up to this 690 to 700 level, and that's where people are just taking profit. They're just looking for a quick swing trade on that one. So there's going to be a lot of profit taking at that point in general, I would imagine. That's what I would expect to see on that coin. And that kind of lines up with this area here, which is definitely going to be a place where some price action traders would look to just take a profit on a quick trade. You know, that's not necessarily a huge trade either. That's, you know, maybe a 14% trade, and you're risking at least 5.5%. So, almost, yeah. I would just, personally want to see, for a longer term trade on that one, I would want to see that bottom confirm first. And I'd want to see price come up and twist those EMAs again, especially with the longer term time frame in a downtrend like that, with, no real strong bottom signals on that time frame. So that's one I would definitely be careful of at the moment, for longer term holds. If it were to come up and twist the EMAs on the daily, I would be much more interested in trying to enter a position on that one. Or if it closes above this previous day's high at 612, that would make me more interested in thinking that this is a bottom down here. But again, versus BTC, a lot of this is just dependent on BTC itself right now. and not so much the altcoins. There's, you know, not a lot of new money going into the altcoin market. Most of the new money is still going into Bitcoin because that's where all the excitement is right now. All right, let's see. What else do we have here that I want to take a look at? I want to take a look at XRP because it's always fun. Actually, I haven't looked at the USD chart on it, so let's take a look at that one as well. And of course, I'm looking at this one because it is something I'm actively trading. So I like to see what's going on with it, and don't necessarily need to check it every day, but I like to at least pay attention and set some alerts, you know, so that if an important level is reached, I'm at least aware of it. All right. It did break up out of that little consolidation pattern there, triangle pattern, and come back down, retest a little bit. Yes, a little bit of divergence, but nothing too crazy. Let's look at the BTC pair though, because that is what many people are trading it on and what is dominating the cycle, as we've been saying here. Okay. Let's see. What do we got? What do we got? XRP. Yeah, I mean, this looks terrible. So, it does not look good at all. Yeah, it tried to put in this low, strong candle there, but just constant downtrend. As you can see, oh man, I think I gave myself the hiccups here. Yeah, other than just potentially, you know, a little double bottom here, there's nothing real spectacular about XRP at the moment. You know, and it even looks on this little bounce up, it just kind of lost momentum on it. The one thing that we could see is we could see some divergence develop here on the 3-day, but price could still come down from where it is now and develop that. As long as this 3-day closes down here somewhere, you know, not too low, yeah, but still we would want to see it stop and then twist the MACD signals back up there. The OBV on the 3-day does look okay. It looks like it's come up and then could be creating that nice little pattern where we have a new higher low on the OBV. A lot of these coins, the OBV is a really good indicator. I just don't love what I see on the 1-day at the moment. But OBV is less likely to be divergent at bottoms than other indicators, so that doesn't concern me so much. I want to see the force here. Definitely, I mean, we have a long-term... The force on this is getting less bearish, yes. So, yeah, it's like all these coins. The bottoms are close. It's hard to say exactly when it's going to be, if it's right now or not. I'm, you know, trading, basically betting on it being now or soon. And if I have to stop out and enter lower, I'll do that. It's not a problem. You know, that's the main thing with these. You just don't want to get stuck even bag holding them from these levels just in case. So, but I am already in XRP, and I can weather quite a dip on it if necessary, but we'll probably just stop out if it retakes this low, and then I'll just try and enter lower. And then same thing with XLM. XLM made this really nice kind of kangaroo tail, but has since kept going in that direction. which I don't really want to see. I want to see it have a stronger reaction after that. But as long as it doesn't retake that low, the trade idea is still valid. So I'm sticking with it for now. And if we can get that candle to close the way it is, or maybe even a little bit higher than it is now, that would be great, and then there would be some nice divergence on the chart. That would confirm that divergence for me, make me a lot more confident in that position, maybe even add to that position at that point. And I will let you know. How to request ETH BTC. Let's check that out. ETH BTC. What do we got going on here? Oof, yeah, that looks bad too. Yeah, ETH BTC is often a good kind of barometer for the market in general. You know, one of my big ideas was that maybe it would hold that middle. It did not hold that middle, and OBV is kind of confirming that it's just still headed down. So it needs to create a bottom, and it could do a little hook here. But I would look for that hook even to just come up and then potentially continue down more. So we could see it bounce up here into the back to the 3, you know, 0.03 range soon. But I really, same as what we were talking about with the others, I really want to see the EMAs flip. They are still bearish at the moment. Trade-wise, if you're looking to trade ETH versus BTC, I would personally want to see it come up, and as you can see, like, there is the danger of that being a fake out, but that's what stops are for. I would really want to see this come up after the daily close. If this closes like this, nice little doji candle here, you can either enter when it breaks above the high from today, or you could just enter with a stop at this low or at that low if that low holds and this actually is a doji. If this comes down and closes closer to the bottom or up closer to the high, that's not a doji candle, so that trade idea would just not be valid at that point. You know, looking at a lower time frame, because that is the 3-day that I was looking at that on. We can even look at the weekly just to see. Yeah, weekly does not look awesome on that at all. And technically right now, this is a no trade candle on my system on the 3-day. The daily has, you know, allows me to trade technically. But it's not something that I'm looking to add to my position at all right now. I'm just waiting, staying out of the way, waiting for the market to give me a clearer signal. And that's kind of the feeling on a lot of these. As I said, there's a couple of them that I've taken a bit of a gamble on at the moment, but I am keeping my gambles to fewer coins right now, mostly staying in USD and BTC overall, with a few exceptions. So yeah, that's the majority of my thoughts on that stuff right now. Just taking a look back at BTC again here. Yeah, it's you know, it's bouncing around. It's creating a range here. It's consolidating. It is consolidating upward, which is bullish for now until it stops doing so. But it kind of needs to obviously, you know, show some strength through these highs, which it has failed to do so far. But it is continuing. You've got hidden bullish divergence on these lows, so, and it has continued up from those points. So I don't expect it to stop doing that until, you know, it can break and create a new low without creating a hidden bullish divergence like that. Yeah, so I am, like I said, out of my leveraged long positions. I've taken profit on those, and just in a couple altcoin positions right now in BitMEX, attempting to catch that bottom, but being pretty aggressive with stops in case it is not. All right. thanks for joining me. I'm going to be doing another one in sometime in the next 2 days, and we'll have some guests. We'll get Nick in here, we'll get Josh in here, get some of the hash rate people in here soon too. All kinds of fun stuff. Maybe do a little gaming too on some streams, and working on the educational video. Check out the channel, subscribe if you're not already, and we'll be doing more of these things. Thanks for joining me, guys.